Happy Fueling Friday, everyone. It's Kim Lucart, Hockey Mom RD. Thank you to everyone who participated in my what favorite breakfast cereal does your skater like? So I'm going to be using that in just a minute. First off, I want to let you know that I am running a special in the rink. It's my group coaching program. It's where you can ask me any questions you have throughout hockey season. For 6 months, you get me as your hockey dietitian for only $297. So if you would like to learn from me, go through my courses, have me available to answer your questions specifically about your skater, that is the group to look at. So it's called The Rink. Right now, 6 months, so from August to what we're in August, September, October, November, December, January, February. So pretty much, from the beginning of the season through all the games and tournaments and leading up to playoffs and even getting your skater ready for tryouts, you could be working with me in this group for less than pretty much 2 nights at a hotel or 3 nights at a hotel, depending on what type of hotel you stay at, right? So I am going to give you a little cooking lesson first. So, I've got my measuring spoons here, and 1 teaspoon is what we're going to be talking about. I either measured out turmeric or cinnamon the last time I used this. So 1 teaspoon and 1 tablespoon. Why am I showing you both? Because there are 3 teaspoons in 1 tablespoon. So this might be an eye-opener when I start going through the cereals. In 1 teaspoon of sugar, there are 4 grams of sugar. So, the recommendations for added sugar, and I'm not talking about sugar from fruits or dairy, added sugars, is for children between the ages of 2 to 18, less than 6 teaspoons of added sugar. So if you do the math, that's 2 tablespoons, remember, because there's 3 teaspoons in 1 tablespoon. Or you could just think of it as less than 6 teaspoons a day is what is recommended. Now, I guarantee you, many people get more than that. Parents, if you're interested, women, we're right at 6 teaspoons a day. Men, for some reason, 9 teaspoons. Don't really understand why. But 1 teaspoon contains 4.2 grams of sugar. And hey, Laura, 4.2 grams of sugar. And to make the math easy for me, I'm just going to put it at 4. All right. So just know that it's just a smidge more than 4 per teaspoon. Now, if you're going to be looking at your food labels, there's 2 easy tips. Look under the daily value. And if the daily value is 5% or less per serving, then that serving of cereal or bar or whatever anything else is going to be considered low. So low in sugar. Now, if you eat enough of those, you're going to go over your allotment, right? But if you're just looking at the serving size, it's going to be 5% or less per daily value serving size is considered low. 20% of the daily value or more of added sugar per serving is considered high. So you've got everything in between the 5% and the 20%. So I just wanted to give you those just to try to make the food label a little bit easier. Now, when we get to the cereals that were mentioned, so we had the first people mentioned, I think it was Barbara, she said Cinnamon Life. So Cinnamon Life cereal contains 10 grams of sugar per serving. So if we divide 10 by 4, right, that's going to be right about 4.5, right? It's not quite 3 teaspoons. And really another pointer for the food label is 10 grams or less, or under 10 grams is also a good choice. Then Suzanne asked about Honey Nut Cheerios. Well, she said that's what her skater loves. And I've known her skater for over a year now. And so that is 9 grams of added sugar. So it's honey. So it's coming from the honey. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, where it's coming from in just a minute. But this is So 2 teaspoons is 4, so that's 8. And this is 9. So Honey Nut Cheerios per serving is a little bit more than 2 teaspoons of sugar. So if you want to do an experiment with your skater and maybe you want them to try to change cereals, you could measure out, take your teaspoons, take your granulated sugar, and show them a serving size of the cereal, and then measure out how many level teaspoons of sugar are in that cereal, and ask them, do they still want it? They're probably going to say yes. I see some of my childhood favorites on the list, which is Lucky Charms. How many of you used to pick out the marshmallows of the Lucky Charms before you'd eat the cereal? That's what my brother and I did. So Lucky Charms is 12 grams of sugar. So you divide 12 by 4, and that's 3. Okay, so 3 teaspoons, Lucky Charms contains 3 teaspoons, right? And 3 teaspoons, remember, is a tablespoon. So measure out the serving size of Lucky Charms, and then show your skater that they're eating a whole tablespoon of sugar. Most likely, the majority of that sugar is coming from the marshmallows. And Laura, I see you said something. Your son likes Vector. Oh, I haven't seen that one. You can buy the marshmallows separately now. Oh, I know. The Lucky Charms, they have a box of just the marshmallows. I would have gone berserk if they did that to me when I was a child. My mom probably would not have bought that for me because I ended up being diagnosed with hypoglycemia, and sugar is not my friend. To this day, I have to watch it or I will dive. I pretty much only will have sugar at night with my Sleepy Time tea because it just crashes me. Okay, then we've got Raisin Bran. So Raisin Bran comes in at 9 grams of added sugar, just like the Honey Nut Cheerios. So that's going to be a little bit more than 2 teaspoons. Then Cinnamon Toast Crunch is another 12 grams of sugar. So that is equally another 12 grams, remember, is 3 teaspoons because each teaspoon contains 4 grams of sugar, or you could also think of it as 1 tablespoon. I find that knowing that 3 teaspoons in 1 tablespoon makes a bigger impact sometimes, because you kind of look at the spoons and go, oh my gosh. But if you do the experiment of measuring out the cereal size and then measuring out the sugar, and you can kind of see, is this really where we want to be getting our sugar from? You can have talks about that. If it's gonna be a power struggle, 1 cup of cereal, 1 serving of cereal is not going to kill them, and cereal actually makes a really good quick snack before ice time, so I wouldn't worry about it. Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops is another 12 grams of sugar, so another 3 teaspoons or 1 tablespoon of added sugar, and that is all of them. So the cereals that I went over range from 9 grams of added sugar to 12 grams of added sugar, so just a little bit more than 2 teaspoons of added sugar per serving, all the way up to 3 teaspoons of sugar per added serving. Now, when you are making your educated decision about which cereals to choose, I would encourage you to also look to see where the sugar's coming from. Now, Raisin Bran, my son loves Raisin Bran Crunch. You just think raisin, right? And that's going to be a naturally occurring sugar. Now, granted, sometimes when we buy dried fruit, they have added extra sugar coating on it for some bizarre reason. But you can look at Raisin Bran Crunch, Raisin Bran. If I'm not mistaken, it was 7 grams of fiber, which, don't eat that before hockey. They will have stomach cramps. I accidentally did that to my son when he was a squirt. I was thinking quick carbs. It's got raisins in it. It was like 4:30 in the morning. We had a 6 o'clock semifinal game, and Robert told me after the game he had stomach cramps for like the first 15 minutes of the game. So watch the fiber. But this video is about the sugar. But Raisin Bran is multifaceted in that it contains a lot of fiber also. So I wanted to mention that. Look at the ingredient list. The first 3 ingredients are the most plentiful. If you see sugar within the first 3 ingredients, that is not really a good, I wouldn't pick it. I would pick something else. And also, I would encourage you to look for cereals that do not contain artificial dyes. We are in 2024. We know that there are certain things that are definitely linked to cancer. If you don't know me, I'll be talking more about it in October. I am a breast cancer survivor. I was also born at Camp Lejeune, so I was in my mom's utero, exposed to all that toxic water, and then me, my mom, and my dad were bathing and drinking and cooking in that horrible water. All three of us were impacted by that toxic water. So we know environmental things cause cancer, and we know certain food things cause cancer. And most certainly, get the dyes out of your food and out of your kids' food. There are enough choices on the market that you don't have to be using dyes. That's why when I did my my video the other day about goldfish, they don't contain dyes anymore. They're just using plant-based dyes. And I know Publix, good gracious, their cereal aisle goes from like the beginning of the store to the back of the store, all the way where the meat is sold. And you get to like the last third of the grocery aisle, and they have a lot of the organic cereals. And you can find an alternative to Fruit Loops that doesn't have dyes in it. Now here again, if it's going to be a fall down, hold my breath, and kick my legs, I want my Fruit Loops, then maybe, let them have them once a week, not every day. So you can make adjustments so that there's still peace in the house, but know that food dyes have been proven to not be beneficial to our health, and they have been proven to be cancer causing. I know that when I was young, all the ladies back in the 60s loved making the red velvet cake with the white icing, and my mom loved it, but then red dye number 2 was found to be cancer causing, and so they pulled it from the market. And for a while, a lot of the moms, at least in my mom's circle, kind of freaked out because they didn't know how they were going to make their red velvet cake, because we didn't have box cakes that were red, back then. They added the dye to their white cake mix. And so, so that's my spiel on that. I could go on and on, but there's so much you can do with food, not only to help your hockey player feel better on the ice, feel better in the classroom, and prepare their body for a healthy adult life. And if we know what is cancer causing, do your best to try to avoid it. Some things we can't avoid. We didn't know. Mom and Dad had no clue, what was going on back then. I was born in 1962. So, what we don't know, we find out later, unfortunately. But what we know now, we can change. Laura, I just looked up, if you're still here, I just looked up Vector cereal. It's by Kellogg's. They're not listing any sugar. Choices Market. Let me close that out. Okay, so Vector, I don't know if they sell this in the States. It's a high protein cereal. Let's see. So the first 3 ingredients are rice, whole grain wheat, and sugar. So sugar's in the first 3 ingredients. So let me see if they give me, here's nutrition facts down here. Sugars. So there's 11 grams of sugar in Vector cereal. So there again, so that's like in between the 9 and the 12. So 11 divided by 2, it's not quite 3. So it's just a smidge lower than 3 teaspoons per serving. Sugar is not evil. Let me just say that. I mean, when your skater, drinks the sports drinks, there's going to be some sugar in them. It is a balanced amount in the sports drinks, right? It's between 6 to 8% carbohydrate. That carbohydrate typically coming from quick acting sugars. A lot of skaters do not like to have sports drinks when they are skating because it makes them feel funny. So that's going to be on a case-by-case basis. But sugars Sugars are not evil. I mean, we all enjoy sugar. Let's be honest. But knowing to limit them and why, it's not good for heart health. It's not good for our wrinkles, everybody. It's not good for inflammation. So treat your body the way you want it to behave for you, and help your skater learn about nutrition so they can treat their body the way they want it to behave for them now and in the future, because it's going to make a difference for them on the ice and in the classroom. And if you would like to learn from me, I would love to welcome you into the rink. I have never made this offer for only $297 for 6 months in the rink. It is a group coaching program, so when you have a question, you post a question in the group. I will answer you because you were in my group coaching program. Then you have access to my courses. You have access to my additional modules that I'm putting up. I'm putting up new modules all about timing, what time to eat and why. If we got an early morning game, if we've got, games in between 1 and 3. So I'm building out the rink as we speak. So if you'd like to dive in and join me, all you need to do is private message me. I would be more than happy to help you understand if it would be a good fit for your skater. Pretty much if you're curious about hockey nutrition, your skater started to be curious about hockey nutrition, you want to learn more about how to help them be healthy now on the ice as well as prepare their body for health in the future, then I would love to help you. So that's all. Laura, I hope I answered your question about the hydration from yesterday and about the cereal. And it's not a bad snack. I mean, any of these cereals, okay, with the exception of, who was the one that asked me about the mom that asked me, Heather. Okay, Heather, your son might not like me. I'm going back to your Facebook post so I can see. Everything on the list. So Honey Nut Cheerios would be great. Just toss it in a bag, and they could have it as a quick snack in school. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is always yummy. I remember it kind of got messy though. My sons loved it. We had a lot in the house. Cinnamon Life, we had a lot in the house also. Fruit Loops is good. I would strongly recommend you try to find one that does not have artificial dyes in it. I know it's got Red 40 in it. I know it's got Blue 6 in it. It's got like probably 3 or 4 artificial dyes that are not health promoting. Raisin Bran Crunch would be okay, but there again, remembering that anything bran, okay, it's going to be a lot of fiber. So that is going to be something that your skater would probably want to have in the morning, and then it would have time to work through their body before their late afternoon practice. Don't give it to them before practice. So before practice, Honey Nut Cheerios would be good, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and then if you could find an alternative for the Fruit Loops and an alternative for the Lucky Charms. If not, just use those sparingly. If there's artificial dyes in them, use them sparingly, like once a week, once every couple weeks, and focus the cereal on the cereals that aren't so laden with artificial colors. So I'm thinking Panda Puffs is something that my brother likes, and they're kind of like a Kix cereal, which is another cereal that is good. It's very it's old. My mom, when she would get home from school, her Nana would make them, and I made this for my sons. We called it Kix popcorn. And what I would do we'd melt a little bit of butter in a cast iron skillet, and we toss in the Kix, and then we'd spin it around to get them warm and toasted, and I'd put a little bit of salt in it, and it made a yummy snack out of a super simple cereal. And Kix doesn't have hardly any additives in it. I know someone might say something about GMO. I'm not even going to talk about GMO. GMO can be a mixed bag of things. So you are the ones choosing the food for your family. I can help you navigate the nutrition, and that's all. I could talk forever. So anyway, have a great day. Happy skating. And Laura, good luck to your son. I hope some of this information helps him feel more energized on the ice. Take care.